What's happening, everybody? Welcome to another little Decoding Cocktails special right here. We're going to talk about the highball cocktail today. And this is a family of cocktails that includes things like gin and tonics, palomas, mezcal mules. A highball is something often, as it's said, that you can think of as a cocktail that's going to have typically a larger pour of a carbonated beverage. Not all the time carbonated, but a lot of times drinks served in taller glasses. A lot of times with a carbonated beverage, be that a club soda, a tonic water, champagne, but also can include things like a tequila sunrise with orange juice in it. But what I wanted to talk about today is that this is also another way to experience a spirit in a relatively pure fashion. And one of the benefits to this, actually, I suppose there are a couple benefits to this. The first thing to consider is that sometimes for many of us, drinking a spirit neat is just, frankly, it's a lot. There's a lot of heat, a lot of ethanol, and so it can be very unpleasant for some, even though many can find great pleasure in it. I enjoy it from time to time. But one of the other interesting realities is that when a spirit is neat at full strength, it is so tight and robust and hot with flavor and alcohol that there are actually flavors in that spirit that are hard to taste, that you actually cannot taste when it's at full strength. And one of the other things that's fun to think about regarding cocktails and flavor is that 80% of flavor is aroma. And so when we make a traditional highball cocktail, one of the things that can happen is if we use an effervescent spirit or bubbles in particular, it can help us actually better taste the beverage. So I thought it would be fun to kind of talk through how to build one. But so like why we have them is one, it can be a very relaxed way to enjoy a spirit, but can also be a way to tiptoe into trying something like a Japanese whiskey or a rum agricole. A cocktail that's having very much a moment in the sun is the ranch water, and that's primarily tequila club soda with a squeeze of lime. So it's a way to kind of have a very easy drinking tequila cocktail. And so with that, we'll save for a minute so we can compare the two. I'm going to go ahead and drop a little bit of this Missouri Planters whiskey in here. But if I was going to make a traditional highball, one, you're going to want your seltzer water to be cold in advance. I've even chilled my glass down. We're going to be adding so much carbonation that we want everything to already be cold. A lot of things I read tend to suggest kind of a 2 parts seltzer to 1 part spirit ratio is a place to start, but you can even go up to 3 to 1. This is really kind of one of those things that's a little bit like add to taste, like you see in a recipe. Stop adding it when it tastes good. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to open up my ice over here real quick. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to drop a couple of ice cubes in here. And for a proper pour, I'm going to go ahead and grab 2 ounces of my whiskey right here, like so. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to drop that in here. And give this a little kind of stir just to kind of get the whiskey cooled down. By getting it cooled down at this point, it will help make sure that the bubbles, the carbonation doesn't fizz up as much. This ultimately helps make sure that more of the bubbles stay in the glass. So go ahead now and add this guy in here. Kind of get that relatively, let's see, come here, you. Perfect, get that in there. And now we'll give this another little stir right here just to get everything nice and cold real quick. Great. From here, I'm going to go ahead and pop open my club soda, like so, and kind of gently add. I'm going to add 2 ounces and then another 2, so it kind of get roughly my 4 ounces of my spirit, my club soda in here. So now we kind of have, going to give this a nice gentle mixing right here, just to kind of properly blend the two together like so. And then if you've got it even, go ahead and drop in a little straw in there. And so at this point in time, what we kind of have, we've got a little neat pour of this guy right here. You can definitely smell kind of the toasted oak kind of notes right there. Definitely get a little bit of that very familiar bourbon kind of grainy, grain-based, corn on there. And so, a lot of those traditional, kind of woody aged spirit notes, but also quite a bit of heat. This guy clocks in at 50% ABV right here. So now if we were to compare this with this guy right here, what you have is a much gentler cocktail. The bubbles do also convey what you can think of as a little bit of acidity. Think about tasting like a club soda in a way, or a regular strength Coca-Cola compared to one that is flat. The bubbles kind of give it that pop on it right there. The sharpness kind of adds a little bit of pleasantness to it right there. But what you'll experience in a great way is you'll get to taste this spirit in another way. And so, like I said, this was a 2-to-1 ratio of bubbles to spirit. You can always go up to 3-to-1. And a number of bars will also say when they're dealing more with so like Japanese whiskeys tend to be tend to be a little bit gentler than American whiskeys. And so over there they might go more 2-to-1 versus on American whiskeys or on a Scotch, for example, you might go 2.5-to-1 or 3-to-1 as a way to kind of really open that up and reduce those notes. This is a way to begin to experience anything you've got at home. Your rum agricole, your tequila, you've got your mezcal, etc. A highball cocktail like this can be another great way to experience something, to understand what it's really like, and to also, on a warmer day, kind of make something you can sip without having to watch yourself as much. A much more pleasant sipper than something that might leave you a little more intoxicated a little sooner than you want. So there you have it, a little primer on the highball. I hope you enjoy.